outside looking in. I know everything looking sweet, but there's some struggles and some pain you can't see. It's been hard on me, not to mention all them nights with no sleep, trying to figure out how the fuck we gon' eat. Now we finally eat.
I don't understand why he's doing it. Right. I'm more disappointed in him than anything because I looked at him different. What I perceived of him is not what he playing out.
Gucci ever tweeted me, I was in the studio, somebody sent it to me. Oh man, like at home, like he didn't even speak about what he tweeted. He was like, oh man, you put Jeezy and Tip on the Rags remix. Jeezy tried to kill me. I was like, what?
So it just made me lose all respect for him instantly.
What it do, Rizzle fam? The rap industry is packed with all kinds of different stories. One thing that's for sure that's not lacking is the good old story of friends turning foes. And the story of Gucci Mane and Yo Gotti is one of that. Gucci Mane and Gotti made names for themselves by kicking it together. However, after one incident, it all went south. And Yo Gotti is of the opinion that Gucci Mane should stay away from him as far as possible. So what really happened? And why should Gucci Mane keep distance from Yo Gotti? Everybody knows that the first mixtapes coming from Yo Gotti and Gucci Mane were the ones they collaborated on. Even before they got to the kingpin status they have today, they were making their territory in the music game. Definition of a G and G signaled the start of an extremely dense number of mixtapes, albums, and singles that the two of them would go on to produce. The mixtape which probably resonated with their fans the most was probably Gucci and Gotti. And people are still bumping to the old school tape even today. As a matter of fact, some rap fans think that the narrative of the trap music from those days deserved more praise than the one we listen to today. It was the real hood stuff. And today, it's all different. This one comment read, "Them days they were dropping real trap hits." However, times are changing, and so is the music that we listen to. Today, we've got different waves of trap, and that's not the only thing that's changed. The relationship between Yo Gotti and Gucci Mane deformed too, and not in the good way. The whole beef had actually started after a misunderstanding between these two rappers, even though some believe that their issue shouldn't really be called a beef since the circumstances are quite specific. So most of their problems rose back in 2012. The year was hella busy for both Gotti and Gucci. They both had a huge number of projects in plan for the whole year and they were doing good numbers, but there was an incident in October of 2012 and that was what marked the turning point. If you know anything about Gucci Mane and his record label, then you probably know that the importance of the month of October to him. His record label not only called 1017, but all the artists, including him, used that exact date for dropping projects, a fact that Yo Gotti was well aware of back at that time. So on the 17th of October, we see two new mixtapes. Yo Gotti decided to drop his track, The World Is Yours, CM7, and Gucci dropped his Trap God mixtape. This is where things get a little messy. Their perspective on what happened that day is totally different. What Gotti thought was a chance for both of them to benefit, Gucci saw in a different light. Yo Gotti honestly thought that if they were dropping music on the same day, it could only be a win-win scenario. But Gucci Mane was feeling a different type of way. For him, this was a diss move. According to Gucci Mane, Yo Gotti tried to ride his wave by releasing his mixtape on the date of 1017. That's why he went on to say this.
My main problem with him was they dropped his mixtape on 1017 and tried to like ride my wave, you know what I'm saying? So I just felt like, you know, for an artist to drop their mixtape on 1017, you know what I'm saying? Which is my label on the day that I dropped all my label mates drop their mixtape on 1017. Why would you drop it if you ain't on 1017? And when I call you as my partner to ask you why you did, you say, oh, I didn't know you were dropping the mixtape. So it just made me lose all respect for him instantly.
Gucci Mane made his stance quite clear to everyone, and that's what's got him a lot of followers. His fans left a couple of comments in support. Gucci Mane, the realest. Now this was the real Gucci. To let everyone know that they weren't on good terms any longer, Gucci Mane also made a diss track where he called Gotti out. On his track, Birds of a Feather, Gucci splits lyrics saying, I f with Rocco cause he's a hustling You know I f with Flocka cause he's a crazy You know I f with Scooter, he's a robbing I used to f with Gotti till he turned into a buster. And if you thought Gotti was gonna let it slide, well, Yo Gotti has something to say as well. Yo Gotti learned about what Gucci had said about the diss track, and the info reached Gotti via text that come from none other than the associates of Gucci Mane. Gotti said that some of the guys who moved with Gucci were cool with him at the time. Thanks to those associates, Gotti even knew that Gucci Mane was in the studio recording the diss song before it was released. Then Yo Gotti went on to do an interview with DJ Devin Steele at K97 FM. He said a couple of things on that occasion.
It's a funny situation because first of all, like I do my music and I don't keep up with what other people doing. For one, I ain't checking to see when you drop. And it came down to me and homie were dropping on the same day. I didn't know in the beginning. Right. You know what I'm saying? But once I found out, because he supposed to be my homeboy. You get what I'm saying? I hit his phone immediately. I'm thinking like, oh man, we gonna shut. I ain't getting, he ain't hit me back. He ain't answer.
Gotti didn't stop there. He said that he was actually disappointed that something like this came from a person who he considered not only a music partner, but a brother.
I'm more disappointed than anything, really, like, because you mentioned the diss record. I heard about the record last night. I ain't heard it yet, but I heard about the record last night. Nobody understand why he doing it.
Right.
I'm more disappointed in him than anything because I looked at him different. What I perceived of him is not what he playing out. I thought you was a straight up stand-up guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Street type dude, and street dudes don't handle business like that.
As you heard, Gotti claimed that he's got no time to browse all the new music coming out on the internet, nor was it in his interest to follow release dates. Regardless, after he found out Gucci was releasing on the same day, he did reach out to Gucci. That's when Gotti found out about the issue in the first place. He did Gucci wrong, and he finally knew about it. But Yo Gotti was feeling some way about the whole sitch too. Him saying that he was more disappointed than anything else kinda hits different. He was not expecting a diss track coming from a longtime partner. For Gotti, Gucci was no longer a straight-up, stand-up guy, and he took the title of his homeboy to the grave with that diss track. I gotta admit, the whole situation's pretty tricky. Both Gucci and Gotti made mistakes and weren't completely 100 with each other. The fact that they released music on the same day was just the surface of the whole problem. Then there's other reasons why the relationship between Gotti and Gucci came to a close. See, it's a known fact that between the two, they spent times with each other's ops. Gotti made tracks with Young Jeezy, T.I., rappers who Gucci dissed heavily. They dropped a remix of Gotti's song, I Got That Sack. And in case you ain't know it yet, Jeezy went as far as setting Gucci up in an apartment of one of the Gucci's female friends. He was completely caught off guard by 5 guys and he barely made it out alive. And after you go through something like that, there's no way you'll just let it slide. Fans also found that to be a seriously disrespectful move from Gotti. One fan said, I mean, Gucci got a point. Jeezy tried to kill him and you do a song with him? That's backdoor movement. On the other hand, Gucci wasn't that thoughtful of what Gotti was going through either. Not only did he make several tracks with Young Dolph, Gotti's nemesis, but he also considered him one of his closest friends. It's alleged that Gotti was heavily involved in some of the hits that were made on Young Dolph, including the one that ultimately took his life. Some speculate that the beef between the two would have been squashed or perhaps not even come to life if Gucci didn't have health issues. Problem between Gucci and Gotti were probably kept alive for longer than they should have been because of the serious lean abuse that got the best of Gucci. At one time, Gucci even had a major rant where he dissed Jeezy, T.I., Eminem, Nicki Minaj, and of course, Yo Gotti. In the end, the relationship between Yo Gotti and Gucci Mane never really got to be the same as before 2012. Things are quiet between the two, and the beef has gone cold, as the two seem to have cut all ties. Such a shame for all the Gucci and Gotti fans out there who still, to this day, want them to get back together. I don't think their beef will ever squashed, but they are in different places with life. As a fan of great music, I think Gucci and Gotti collab would be dope for hip-hop. The hate in hip-hop destroys the youth. Man, they need to get together and put everything aside and bring it back like it was back in 2012. They both got a fire-ass roster of artists from Memphis. Do y'all believe that the two will reconcile and find a way to make fire music again? Also, do you think Gucci Mane made too big of a deal over Yo Gotti dropping his mixtape on the same day as he did? Let us know what you think all about it in the comments section below.
I know everything looking sweet, but there's some struggles and some pain you can't see. It's been hard on me, not to mention all them nights with no sleep, trying to figure out how the fuck we gon' eat. Now we finally